Hi guys, welcome back to the Man Cave of an Acting Teacher for another video. Thank you very much for enjoying yesterday's one on voice. Thank you very much for those people who I see tagging other people in the videos. They're free of charge, so please spread the word around. There's a hashtag for them, hashtag Man Cave of an Acting Teacher. And yeah, it's great, isn't it, just to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes out of your day to think about your craft, to watch something that talks about a particular concept of our acting craft. Today we're talking about emotion in acting and method acting, okay, and where that came from and the journey from Stanislavski to Strasberg in that. The reason being that I got a couple of questions, actually I've got a few questions, after my video that I did on acting technique where I mentioned method, and some people were a bit confused about what method was, so I'm going to broach that today. Before I do though, I had a bit of a loss myself this morning, a bit of a personal loss. Nothing to do with COVID-19, but I wasn't going to make a video today. I wasn't in the right headspace for it, especially one to do with deep emotion and method acting. But I got a text from a wonderful student of mine, Luke Heaps, and he gave me permission to read it out. And it says, "Hi Dave, I hope you are well. Really enjoying the videos you're doing. They are really great and keep me motivated to stay active. I have transferred 30 quid to you." Well, to say thanks for the videos and also thanks for being a great acting coach. I know the absence of your Wednesday and Friday studio will affect your business. You were always generous to offer additional classes, so I'm trying to pay it back. I genuinely have the belief that I can improve to the point of being a working actor now. Whether it happens or not is up to me, I suppose, but at least the belief is there to try, and that is down to great coaching, so thank you. Luke, number one, mate, you have changed my day and got me into the man cave. You re-inspired and re-motivated me, number one. Number two, don't worry about the 30 quid, okay? Yeah, I appreciate it. And yes, of course, you know, all of us who have assembly-based jobs are really struggling right now, but we will share that 30 quid in a few pints when all of this is over. But I really appreciate the gesture, okay? And no one else come sending me 30 quid, all right? Unless you're doing a class with me, and then we'll talk about maybe paying me some money, right? But I really appreciate that. It's a great gesture. And more importantly, though, you are a working actor. You are a professional actor. You have invested a great deal of money, time, and energy in the studio, training and doing scene after scene and monologue after monologue and making yourself a great actor. And that's why you are as good as you are, mate. So yes, it's up to you, but it's only up to you to do your best, okay? Become the best actor you can be. Put yourself out there into the business, and then it's up to the business to take people like you and give them jobs and expose them to the audience. And it's the audience who deserves to see you, all right? I really appreciate that one, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks to Wayne as well, actually, who sent me a wonderful monologue that he'd written and recorded. I've got more to say about that and the screen acting questions that you asked me, but that's for another day. I haven't forgotten though, okay? So yeah, so today we're talking about emotion and memory and method. Okay, let's get into this, all right, and demystify. Now, I can't talk about an entire technique and properly serve that technique and the life's work of someone like Stanislavski or the life's work of someone like Lee Strasberg in the space of 10 or 15 minutes, obviously, but I can try to demystify a few things, all right? So in his book, An Actor Prepares, Stanislavski has a chapter called Emotion Memory. Now, that happened, that emotion memory idea occurred because melodrama was the most popular form of theater in Stanislavski's time. So Stanislavski wanted to change that demonstration of emotion using gesture and posture into a much more realistic performance style, okay? So that's what he did. He invented a technique that was based on real life. We are all in a set of circumstances all the time. So is your character. We all have objectives, wants, and desires all the time. So does your character. Therefore, might it be a good idea to explore the idea that the emotion that we have experienced in our own lives might be usable in our acting? It's a simple enough kind of leap on. That's where that comes from. That is the journey from one place to another there, all right? So he explored this idea of bringing in emotion from your own life into your acting. His work ended up in America when he went with the Seagull and Chekhov's work over to New York, and he heavily influenced Lee Strasberg, who really liked this idea and made it the center of his technique And it's his technique that we know as method acting. Okay, so the method is actually Lee Strasberg's work, not so much Stanislavski, because Lee Strasberg explored it in an awful lot more depth than Stanislavski did. Stanislavski left it there then. It's just one chapter in many chapters in An Actor Prepares, and Stanislavski went off and just explored opera and many, many different other things, okay? Now, even with method, this is only one idea in it. There's lots of other concepts in the method. Animal work, for example, lots of obscure, wonderful things that are great fun to explore. But it is arguable, of course, that emotion memory, or what's sometimes called effective memory, is at the core of method acting. How does it work? Strasberg found, as we do in life and as we are in life, that some of his actors had built up blockages to emotion. So when they were trying to run a scene where the character was about to experience high emotion, they'd sort of run away from that. They get afraid of it for some reason, or laugh it off, or stop the scene, or suddenly become sort of self-conscious and extremely vulnerable. They weren't comfortable with emotion in their acting. Okay, so he invented a couple of different ways of approaching this and trying to solve this problem. And the first was the sensitizing of the actor, where what he would do is he'd say to his actors, okay, in your life, was there a moment of abuse, trauma, or just a severe fright that you might have got that you think may have caused you to become uncomfortable with emotion, that might have caused you to create a blockage to emotion or built up a wall between you and comfortably experiencing and dealing with emotion. And then what he'd do is he'd take the actor and put them in front of the class, okay, the whole class, all right, there's nothing private in this or whatever, in front of the whole class. They close their eyes. Strasberg takes them back to that memory. And he doesn't just say to them, now I want you to remember this, or what happened next. He would actually do it in real time, right, if, for want of a better way of putting it, right, and take the actor to that place. So instead of what happened next, the questions would be more like, what color are the bed sheets? What are the sounds that you hear? What are the smells that you smell? What do you taste in this place, And you're actually in that place, right? And in fact, to be even more accurate, he even tried to avoid those kind of questions. And he'd bring the actor back to that place so that they are reliving it. He'd bring them right up to the point of that fright or whatever it is that they got. And then he said, look, whatever that thing is that happened to you is not my business. The important thing to me is that you face it, that you deal with it, and that you go through it so that you are then comfortable with the experiencing of emotion rather than you're running away from emotion, okay? And then after that, the actor is able to access emotion on behalf of their characters and doesn't get afraid in those moments of emotion, but rather instead allows themselves to immerse themselves in that emotion, to really throw themselves into it. So I went through this myself, this training myself. It is no doubt extremely disarming, right? Quite harrowing, actually. And that, I suppose, is why it's quite controversial. But certainly I did become much more sensitive after it and was able to experience emotion on behalf of my characters at will, essentially, right? So, yeah, it is very controversial, okay? And of course, a lot of acting teachers ran a mile from it, like Stella Adler and, Michael Chekhov and people like that, right? We'll talk about that again in a second, right? But the second stage of it then is when you actually pick up a script and you read the script and you realize, hang on, I've been through something similar. It'll never be exact, but something similar to what this character has been through. Can I go back to my memory of that thing that happened to me, take the emotions that are attached to that memory, right? Leave the memory behind because it's got nothing to do with the character, but take the emotions, put them in, feel them, and start the scene and see where they take me, right? That experimentation then might lead me to somewhere interesting in my performance of this scene, all right? So that's essentially what the effective or emotion memory part of method is. Now, as I say, I'm papering over a very complex and very big piece of work that was done by Strasberg and a life's work as well. Yes, it is going back to that very controversial, okay? Because why? Well, Us acting teachers, we're not psychoanalysts, we're not psychologists or psychiatrists, right? So what right do we have to delve around in somebody's, traumatic past, right? And Strasberg would say as an answer to that, well, this is my method. It works for my actors. My actors want to come and do this training. I'm taking them through it. I'm there's no secrets here, right? If they don't want to do it, they can go and do your course, right? Simple as that. Now, do I believe in it? Do I condone or condemn it? Do I use it in my own work? And the answer is I'm not going to condone or condemn it. I can see its value, and I can see that the arguments against it are also totally, totally valid, okay? Do I use it in my own work? Very rarely. And the reason for that is that my own technique that I teach gets the actors that I train to the place that they want to get without doing this, right? However, when I say rarely, I have done it before. Maybe in the 25 years that I've been teaching, maybe this amount of times, right? I've taken the actor through the sensitizing process of that. And it's usually when I find that there's an actor who just is doing that, is getting to this point of emotion in their work and just going, oh, I can't do it. I feel so uncomfortable with emotion. Now, of course, I never force them, but I would suggest to them, look, maybe this is what it is. And if I'm fairly confident, right, that it's not a highly traumatic moment that needs to be looked at by a professional psychologist or psychiatrist, but might just be a moment of arrest or fright that they got where they've built up a wall to emotion, then I will take them through the sensitizing exercise, and it works. It does actually it's not a magic trick. It just allows you to experience emotion again and to become accustomed to experiencing emotion rather than keeping emotion at arm's length all the time because it feels uncomfortable or awkward or fearful, yeah? So that's essentially what that is, right? So Stanislavski is not method, Strasberg is method, but the emotion memory idea that is used in Strasberg method, comes from Stanislavski, comes from an actor prepares, okay? So when you're reading the newspaper next and some journalist says Daniel Day-Lewis, method actor, what that journalist is thinking is any actor that immerses themselves fully in their role is a method actor. That's not what it is, okay? That's not technically what method is. I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis ever trained at a method school at all. And you can even see by his work that he finds his way into his characters through physical transformation, okay, and the use of his body. And idiosyncratic transformation rather than a sort of a psychological relying on himself. He steps as far away from himself as he can by the looks of it, right? Okay, look, I'll stop there, okay, but I hope that makes sense, and if you have any other questions on it, please do let me know. I hope that demystifies a few things for you. If you'd like to do a class with me, you know where to find me, and we can do that anytime, online, all right? And of course, look after your self-employed mates. And Luke, thank you very much again for that wonderful message today, and for all of the other messages that have been sent to me recently, and your comments and your questions. I'm really enjoying this too. It's great for me to keep busy, to keep mentally and intellectually stimulated as we wait and wait and wait for this all to be over, which it will be one day. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and you have a nice evening. See you later. Bye.